There's all this talk about helping the persecuted foreigners trapped in Tripoli, but that also worries me. You know, why does NATO want to get the foreigners out? Is it so they can really bomb Tripoli in a terrible manner? I mean, it is a bit of hype. It's coming out of the New York Times and Western media, this issue of getting the poor foreigners out of Tripoli.
Concerning your comment about the people wanting to leave, I spoke late last night with a representative of the International Organization for Migration, the IOM, who's at this hotel, and there is some discussion of being available if people are petitioning. There's been a lot of hype around here recently, I think from the media. 2 points particularly that I claim to know something about. One of them is that people are fleeing Tripoli. That is utter nonsense. The traffic out there is absolutely normal. Now, I will, and this is, let me show you something. This is the main road, if you can see it, and you can see the traffic. Now, often that is jammed in the old days, every morning, bumper to bumper. Now, there's a few cars out there. There's a truck. You know, are they fleeing? My guys say no, that things are absolutely normal in their neighborhood, and they don't think anybody's fleeing. And then the gentleman asked me, where would they flee to? Well, maybe the desert or something like that, but no. There's no overriding sense of imminent invasion or attack. I want to say, based on these fellows, that there's still doubt. They have more doubt than I do that the rebels are going to, you know, show up here in the next week or so. So things are normal. People are not fleeing. People are not panicked to get on the boat, so-called boat from here. Now that may change, but I think whoever's reporting that has got it wrong. And I don't know if there's some reporter stuck in the hotel, the Rexus, where those guys are, you know, under a short leash. I admit that, and aren't free to engage in others.
I am afraid, you know, the West manipulates the whole situation with orchestrated stories, and there's one unfolding now. It's a minor one about the people can't get out of Tripoli and they're desperate to get out. It's as if they're giving an excuse for foreign military intervention, you know, to help these mythical people that need to get out. Who can read between the lines with these people?
Absolutely, I agree with that.
You're agreeing.
People here are almost bemused by what's coming in here from the West. And as we, as you can imagine, interrogate or question our sources, they question us. How can the New York Times say this? How can CNN say this? Where is the evidence of this? You know, I'm talking about some people who are activists. They're well informed, and most of them would support the current government. And they feel abused by the Western interpretation of what is actually happening here.
And you know, yesterday, as every day, Musa Ibrahim gave a press conference. Are you familiar with his statements yesterday? And do you buy them? Do you agree with them? He is saying, you know, the rebels are really losing everywhere, and the Libyan government is winning with the support of the people.
Okay, if that is the accurate representation of his current beliefs and expressions, he is in error. As was the Prime Minister 3 days ago now, I guess, Baghdadi, when he said things were fine, you can go to Zawiya and Slaytan. That was not true then, and it is not true now. And so those statements, maybe they were misinterpreted, maybe they didn't understand the question, but those are simply not facts. I think the facts are that there is still fighting this morning in Zawiya. Most, maybe 3/4, I'm told by friends here, of Zawiya is at least under rebel control. Seitan, the same, if not, and the refinery in rebel hands. And that's a big subject of angst here, because that's our fuel. If we go black right now, which the hotel says is going to happen, unless something reestablishes some fuel, they cut that fuel. And the rebels are saying, look, we're sorry, but we got to bring this to an end. Well, of course, that squeezes the population here even more. And for sure, NATO isn't going to help these people out. So NATO, you're quite right, they've got the narrative, and they will repeat it and repeat it enough that the average people in the West, I imagine, are going to believe it. Until history really examines this, which will probably be too late to affect anything, and they'll get a different point of view as to what happened and what this was all about, if they're even interested at that point. One thing, Morris, that I guess one of the main 2 or 3 truths I believe here and that I've discovered is that this has very little anymore to do with the rebellion. It is NATO's war. It is NATO's project. You can prop up a 19-year-old, give him some money, and encourage him to go die. That's what's happening. The tribes here and the people are saying, we are very capable. We are a tribal society. Do you think Gaddafi could do all this killing that he is claimed? Of course not. We will shake his cage. The tribes have power. He has to placate them. He has support of 2 or 3 of the largest ones. So they would have solved this thing, I believe, months ago, including a general amnesty, if NATO had not insisted on carrying forward with this criminal project. So it is NATO's war. It is not the rebels' war. They are pawns in this adventure, is my submission to you this morning, Morris.
Well, I really like the fact that you're contradicting the other reports that I've quoted, the government spokesman and various other people. No, I'm just saying that adds drama to the story, and thank you for that. But the other issue is, I would think that NATO has got some, unfortunately, got some huge goals here. It's very concerned about intervening in Syria. In the Sinai, the Americans already have a base, and there's talk in Israel of reconquering the Sinai. I'm not saying it's official policy, but I think NATO's got some big ideas here for, all of Africa, North Africa, and we can forget that just by looking at Libya alone.
Yes. Well, you're expert much more than me. I've been focused here, and I maybe have an insight or 2 around here. What's going on out there, I've heard something about, but NATO also has a lot of problems. And Israel has a lot of problems. And Israel's problems are getting bigger. Who would have thought that Mubarak, who neutralized, one might say neutered, the resistance in Egypt, now what is happening? So I think that if Israel is lucky, they will have a government that is finally willing to remove those settlements from the West Bank and get serious about a peace process. But I doubt that that's going to happen. So I predict that there's going to be trouble. And as you know, Iran is expecting a war. Syria is, I think, and certainly Hezbollah is expecting it. I don't know if the Egyptians will. Time is against Israel. Day by day, the resistance in the region is stronger. Israel is weaker internally and externally. If the Egyptians are allowed enough time to reconnect with the Arab nation, if you will, I'm thinking in the Nasserite sense, well, then it's over. We'll issue them passports in Israel, and they can try for one democratic secular state, which is a project. People will flee, and there'll be a resolution maybe within the coming years. I mean, this is maybe it seems to you an absurd idea, but things are changing for sure. NATO is trying to stop the tide of the Arab and Islamic awakening, in my 2 cents worth opinion.
It's probably created it as well, ironically. Franklin, I've got so much to work with.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, my friend. I'm looking forward to that plate of fish and chips, and I'm just waiting for a concession from you.
No,
is not in the hands of the government.
I think it is. I still think it is.
You still think it is?
Yeah, read Musa Ibrahim's press conference yesterday.
Well, I'm impressed that you're hanging in on this myth about Misrata. But anyhow, we have more time to resolve it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a million.
Good luck, and thank you, and goodbye.
All right. See you soon.